Red Zone Sports Outfit. Wham, bam, thank you, Uncle Sam.
Hi there and welcome to another edition of Upping the Ante in association with RedZone.bet. Of course, I'm David Jennings and this is my esteemed colleague Mr. Gavin Lynch, and we're here to talk all things Cheltenham. And Gavin, this is our 4th or 5th week of the new series and we have put up a couple of selections so far. So I think it's time to reflect on our brilliance so far. I don't know if you want to start off or maybe I should.
I wouldn't reflect too long, and may I say how well dressed you are today, Dave.
Thanks very much, Gavin. Like to make an effort?
Picking up your Golf of the Year award.
Yeah, big presentation night tonight in the golfing game, yeah.
Well done. Tipped up so far, Tiger Roll, Penhill, Larichburg, Malone Road and Layler or Lawler. Okay,
one definitely not running.
Malone Road, yeah, it's a pity because, he'd have a massive chance, but he's not going to run, so that's a pity. Larichburg got beat in Fairy House, as you know, by Delta Work.
That's right.
Penhill won't run till March, so that's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Tiger Roll will win the cross country, and Lawler, obviously we better going left-handed and good ground, but still you'd have a...
You were disappointed, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, just to give you a bit of a confidence booster, your list is far superior to mine at the moment. Because I kicked off, of course, with Paloma Blue, who disgraced himself at Navan. And then it was on to Rhinestone, who was well beaten in a Grade 2 at Navan last Sunday. I think there is better to come from Rhinestone, but he's certainly not going to be winning the Ballymore.
No.
And my only saving grace at the moment is Delta Work for the RSA, who hasn't ran in the interim, so he hasn't blotted his copybook. So he's still there. So hopefully Delta Work will do the business in the RSA. And you have to stay tuned because later in the show we're going to have our next selections for the Cheltenham Festival. And they get better. They do get better.
They will, and we're going to preview Christmas a bit too.
We are indeed. We are indeed.
I have another off you go for you, by the way.
Oh, Gavin has got another off you go, so you've got to stay tuned for the whole show because he's going to tell us who the new off you go is. So there's plenty there for everybody today. And we're going to kick off by reviewing the weekend, Gavin. And plenty to review. Yes. Great racing, both sides of the Irish Sea.
There was, yeah. I just made a list of horses that ran last week that deserve a mention. Getaway Katie May won her maiden hurdle in Tramore on Thursday. She mightn't be good enough. She's 33 for the Mayor's Novice. She won the entry bumper last year. Elixir du Nuts is the name of the horse. That won at Cheltenham on Friday. The World's End was quite impressive over...
Liked him.
Yeah, he won quite well. He won by 26 lengths. Now, only 3 finished, but at the same time, he won well. So he'd have a chance maybe. He's 16s for the RSA. Fact of the matter, won the cross country, but he was getting weight from Josie's orders, so it's hard to see him beating Tiger Roll later on the season.
You're not scared?
No, Tiger Roll win. Saturday, Dunvegan's worth a mention of Fairy House.
Nice horse.
Yeah. Jumped fantastic. I'd say he's going to make a lovely chaser. We're going to mention the Lawlers of Naas race later on. I think he goes there next, along with Tornado Flyer and Battle Over Diane, who won yesterday.
Oh, that'd be hot.
In Doncaster on Saturday, we had Rocky's Treasure, who did Santini form the World of Good. He won a Grade 2 very easily by 17 lengths. He's now 4 over 5 from fences. Santini's the only horse to beat it. He actually could be an interesting one for the 4-miler Rocky's Treasure. Also in Doncaster on Saturday, there was a Grade 2 juvenile hurdle. Kel Destan won it. He's 20 for the Triumph.
Love him. I know he's not going to win a Triumph hurdle.
No, he's not.
But he's a hardy.
Yeah, he gave the
Get
second.
stuck in.
Yeah,
he knows how to win.
But he won't be winning the Triumph. In Cheltenham on Saturday, Nelson's River won a juvenile hurdle as well. Drover's Lane beat LeBroyle and Jenkins. Again, LeBroyle, who'd been third to Santini, done the form good there. So what did you make of Drover's Lane?
Yeah, I liked him. Yeah, jumped well. Travel. I just think he's one of these that'll pick up races like this along the season. But when it gets to the really good stuff at Cheltenham, I could see him being placed, but couldn't see him winning the big one. At best,
yeah. Frodon was very impressive off 164 top weight in the Caspian Caviar Gold Cup.
Yeah.
And your favourite jockey?
Yeah, she's terrific. She's very like Rachel Blackmore in that when they get on these exuberant front runners, they get such a tune out of them, and Frodon seemed to love it.
Yeah, Bryony Frost was very good, isn't she? Rock Point won the Albert Bartlett Novice Hurdle again. He's 20s for Cheltenham. Brain Power, one of your secret pleasures, as you used to call them.
Yeah.
Now, it wasn't the best international hurdle we've ever seen, but I suppose it could only go and win it. But the second horse, for example, had been second in the Great Wood off 145 Silver Streak, so you wouldn't get carried away now with a champion hurdle, would you?
No, he's just about as unpredictable as I am. Just we're well matched.
And then yesterday, Envoy Allen won the bumper, so he's an exceptional horse. The talk is that he probably won't go to Cheltenham.
Definitely won't go to Cheltenham, no. So if you're tempted to back Envoy Allen for the champion bumper, don't.
Okay. Now, I was half thinking of tipping up Battle Over Diane for the Ballymore, but what stopped me in my tracks was that Willie Mullins finished first and second in the Grade 2 novice hurdle over 2.5 with 2 horses that had been running over the summer. Easy Game and Get a Reason. And when I saw that, I thought, hold your horses, because like Battle Over Diane the next day in the Lawlers and Ace race, which is on the 6th of January, it's actually on the day before we come back on the 7th, is going to take on Tornado Flyer. Now, if one of those two won impressive, then you're really talking about a Ballymore horse, aren't you?
There's just so many to come out. Do you know what I mean?
There is.
Obviously, Battle Over Diane has gone and done it. But you think of Willie's, the likes of Black Bow, Tornado Flyer, carefully selected. There's so many of them.
Loads of them,
that could potentially be grade 1 horses.
You'd imagine that Willie has tons of horses to come out yet. So it'll be interesting. The race on the 6th of January will have a big part to play in the Ballymore, I'd say.
Yeah.
At
the end of the review.
That's the end of the horse that ran in the last week.
Of the review, horses that have ran in the last week. Now it's time to bring Kane Calvin from our sponsors, RedZone.bet, into the equation. And Kane, our first question for you is, who is Red Zone's worst loser in the Cheltenham Gold Cup market? And we are going to talk a lot about staying chases, because we're going to preview the King George and the Cheltenham Gold Cup when we come back.
So despite not seeing him yet this season, Presenting Percy is still the most popular horse in the race with us, and for that reason we go 4-1. The Betfair Chase last month gave us more questions than answers, really, so we haven't seen too much action for anything else. But we do expect to see a shake-up in the market, though, at the end of the month, with big races at Kempton and Leopardstown.
I think you're right, Kane. I think we're definitely going to see a shake-up in the Gold Cup market over Christmas, and that's because we've got the King George, Gavin, and this is a real head-scratcher. It is. 3-1 Might Bite, 5-1 Waiting Patiently, 6-1 Politolog, 13-2 Thistle Crack, the Gold Cup winner Native River, 13-2, 7-1 Bristol de Mai, 14-1 Bar. It's really exciting because it is so open. There's no Clotto Star in there. We know that. But it's intriguing, and this is the race that you love to dissect.
I will probably go for Waiting Patiently to win it.
Really?
Yeah, I think that...
Not your type of horse now.
He's 6 from 6 over fences.
He's 6 from 6 over fences. I'll just tell you why. Because we don't know how good he is. He hasn't gone and done it, okay? He hasn't ran yet this season. And you're kind of guessing, and you're not a guesser.
Well, sometimes,
Maybe,
but the trainer has stated that it goes well fresh, so they're not worried about fitness. It has won around the track over 2.5. It has won in soft ground and Ascot over 2.5. I think it will stay. I think there's too many doubts about some of the others. Politolog is in the same boat. Is he going to stay 3 miles? Nobody knows just yet. Thistle Crack's jumping is obviously a worry after Haydock. Native River, tight track, right-handed, goodish ground. You'd imagine he won't have the gears for, say, Waiting Patiently or Politolog. And Might Bite, sure, there's 3 or 4 different Might Bites, isn't there?
Well, the only horse you haven't mentioned, I think, is the only horse overpriced.
Go on.
I'm ashamed to say it, but...
You're going for Bristol de Mai?
Well, I just think at that price, he shouldn't be 7-1.
But it's not been held in Haydock.
No, I know it's not been held at Haydock. That's hard to say, actually. It's not been held at Haydock. But if we didn't know anything about Bristol de Mai, okay, and just say he came out this season and he hadn't just done all his winning at Haydock, and he was second in the JLT, but he hadn't done all his winning at Haydock, and he produced that performance, and we didn't even talk about tracks and which tracks he preferred. What price would Bristol de Mai be?
Yeah, but why isn't he 2-1?
No, I know, but I'm just saying, what price would it be?
He would be 2-1, yeah.
Okay, so when he won at Haydock, I was like you, and I said to myself, sure, just because it was at Haydock, you know, loves Haydock. He proved, obviously, he doesn't need a bottomless pit to win, but he loves Haydock, and wait and you see the price coming in now. He'll be 5-2 for the King George. It'd be ridiculous. And then the prices came in, the usual story, you get all these updates. And I said to myself, hold on here a second. They've factored this too much into the price, I think. I think if he jumps the first 3 fences well and gets into a rhythm, the wind operations has obviously made a difference. And yes, I'll hold my hands up after the race and go, do you know what? I got it wrong. He just wins around Haydock. But you're getting a great price to find out.
So you're saying you should back him after a mile and run him, maybe?
Maybe, perhaps, yeah, you could back him on the exchange and run him. But I think at 7-1, even if he does bomb out, even if he does,
and there is a chance he could bomb out,
I think you're getting value. He's had the wind up. Nigel Twist and Davis has said so many times that how many problems he had with him last season. He seems a different horse this season. That was a hell of a performance.
There's no way you'd back him each way, should there?
No, it's win or bust.
Yeah.
Not a hope from big play. So
which of those two things a better chance of staying 3 mile?
Waiting Patiently.
Do you?
I just watched the Queen Mother last year, and Politolog was legless up the hill. Legless. But he's a good horse and he'll jump well. Yeah. But I just think, like, never did I ever think I would hear myself saying these words, but I think Bristol de Mai is overpriced at 7-1 for the King George.
We'll have a 5 first.
Wash my mouth out.
We'll have a 5 first past the post, him against him.
Okay.
Done.
Game on. Okay, Kane, back to you. If the Cheltenham Festival started tomorrow, what result would Red Zone fear most? Or who's the worst result at the moment for Red Zone at the Cheltenham Festival?
Well, lots of favourites, as I'm sure most bookies will tell you. As I mentioned earlier, we've got Presenting Percy in the Gold Cup, Bouvedere in the Champion Hurdle, Altir in the Champion Chase, Apples Jade in the Mares, and Tiger Roll in the Cross Country. These horses are already in all the multiples we've seen come through. And if these win, it'll be a bloodbath for us, really.
Okay, Gavin, so if all the favourites win at the Cheltenham Festival, Redzone.bet are not going to have a good festival.
That's strange, yeah.
That is very strange.
Yeah.
But them shorties at the moment, at this time of year, they all look certainties, don't they?
Yeah, they do, yeah. But, yeah, it's a long time. If you're going to back them, you might as well wait. You'd often see a favourite 4 to 6 or 2s on the week before Cheltenham. And then the morning at Cheltenham, they fall over each other to give you even money or 4 to 5, so...
Yeah,
probably wait on the shorties.
Patience is the best approach. Okay, before we wrap up Christmas, Gavin, quick chat about the Savills Chase, maybe our own race, the Racing Post Novice Chase, any races to catch your eye over Christmas, and anything that Upping the Ante punters should be backing at the moment.
Yeah, we'll go through the replacement for Off You Go shortly, but
hold your horses.
I'd fancy plenty of horses at Christmas. Get a Bird will win the Grade 1 2 mile 3 at Limerick, won't he?
I want to write these down now.
Yeah,
Right, Get a Bird.
Now, he'll be no price. He'll be a touch of odds on probably.
The new Grade 1 St. Stephen's Day or Boxing Day as they call it.
2 mile 3, 120 yards, yeah, he'll win.
That's the first
Your
one, Lucky
favourite
15.
horse, Delta Work, sure, he'll win the 3 mile novice, won't he?
Well, I hope you're right, yeah, Delta Work.
Chris's Dream was impressive in Navan. Delta Work has done it. It won the Drinmore. It's crying out for 3 miles, as you saw in the Pertemps last year. So
2 out of 2, my Lucky 15, yeah.
Another favourite, sorry to give favourites, but Quick Grab'em will win the Grade 1 2 mile novice hurdle.
Willie?
Yeah, well, it's just Willie trains.
Willie?
Yeah.
See what I did there?
It's just, there's 43 declared, and he just looks the best horse that's been declared.
Okay.
So.
I mightn't put him in.
And I'm not saying he won't win maybe at Cheltenham, but he'd probably win that.
Okay.
What's interesting is the 2 mile hurdle with Sam Crow Sharjah. I'd be very interested to see if Bedrock gets declared. Because the betting at the moment is 6 to 4 Sam Crow, 5 to 2 Sharjah, 16 to 1 Bedrock. I'd say the ground at the moment is going to be good in Leopardstown. And if it is, I can't have Sam Crow on good ground.
I spoke to Pacquiao earlier today.
Right.
And at the moment, it is yielding on the chase track.
Yeah, but sure. Yeah, maybe it is. They want everybody to declare anyway. Bedrock, 16 to 1. He's only £3 worse off with Sam Crow for Down Royal. I know they went too quick, but at the same time, they shouldn't be 6 to 4, 5 to 2, and 16 to 1. Come on. They shouldn't be.
Go on. Who's the...
Apples Jade will win the 3 miler, and Road to Respect, I think, will win the Savills Chase.
I couldn't agree more.
And I think that if the ground is yielding or better, or good yielding or good ground, I really fancy Road to Respect. And we'll chat about him in a few minutes. But
okay, so there we go. We're not putting in Bedrock. Forget about him. We're not putting in Quick Grab'em. The Lucky 15, the Christmas Lucky 15 from Gavin Lynch. Get a Bird, Delta Work, Apples Jade, and Road to Respect. And I think the best value of them is probably Road to Respect.
Yeah, because it's 3 to 1, 7 to 2ish. I just think that Presenting Percy, who's in around 4 to 1, I could see him drifting a lot in the day. Pat Kelly's a great man to get a horse ready for March. I just don't think its Gold Cup is not at Christmas.
No, I don't.
I could see it finish 4th or 5th. He might run at the ground as good. Okay. But I don't think he's the one to back at Christmas.
Okay. Before we go on to the new Off You Go and myself and Gavin's next Ante-Post tip for the Cheltenham Festival, we're going to go to Twitter and Facebook. And our first question is from Mr. Hinch. And Mr. Hinch wants to know, the stairs is absolutely wide open, Gavin. Yeah. Could the machine be the answer? Or will Penhill bolt up on his first run again? Your thoughts?
I fancy Penhill. I tipped him up last week. He's 2 from 2 in the new track. 2 hurdles in the last 7.5 furlongs really suit him. I thought he won the stairs cosy enough in the end. He beat Super Sunday 2 lengths. What's going to be interesting is Faugheen taking on Super Sunday and Apples Jade at Christmas. That'll be one of the races of the week. So Faugheen would have to put on a huge display there for him to go ahead of Penhill in the betting, I'd imagine. Okay, so it's Penhill, Mr. Hinch for Gavin. And nextly on YouTube, D Gill, trouble pronouncing your name there. Having not seen Cracking Smart since last year, could he have an outside squeak as a contender for the Stayers Hurdle? He looks like he was crying out for 3 miles, and there doesn't seem to be a superstar in that division. Do you know what? I think he's the potential springer in the market. Yeah, I have to agree with you, D. And I think with Cracking Smart, I've seen him in Gordon's at a couple of open days. He's a gorgeous horse that they think the world of. Chasing is obviously going to be his game, but it's gone so late in the season, he's a little bit of a setback. I just think he's the type that could maybe run the Galmoy Hurdle, perhaps win that. And maybe he's a galloper all day long, and maybe we're just looking for something like that to come out of the woodwork, because
we've got our Sam Spinners and all that kind of jazz in England. You know, they're grand.
Yeah.
But there's no star. Penhill is obviously a star, but perhaps at the prices Cracknell Smart could make the step
you'd
up.
obviously have to see him. We haven't seen him in a long time, and he had been injured, so he'd be maybe in each way poke at 33 to 1. But Penhill was rated 100 in the flat, so too many gears.
Yeah, Penhill obviously is the one to beat. Okay, so which do you want first? Do you want to reveal your Ante-Post Cheltenham tip, or do you want to reveal the new Off You Go?
The new Off You Go.
The new Off You Go.
Yes, I better.
Off You Go.
And you're going to like what I'm thinking. Is the name of the horse is I Like the Way You're Thinking. The horse who.
Choose your words wisely.
Yeah, the horse
Very
who ran
wisely.
very well at Fairy House on Saturday. I have to say that Justin O'Hanlon's report in the analysis and the post afterwards was one of the best pieces I've read in a long time. He ran off 108. I just checked there earlier, and he got £2 for Saturday for finishing 5th, which is interesting. So he's off 110. He'll run at Christmas in Limerick or Leopardstown or Down Royal or Fairy House or Punchestown, depending New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, any of those meetings. So he'll be well punted and he'll win. Then will he get into a Carl hurdle? I don't know, because last year Off You Go barely got in off 123, so he mightn't get into that. But Off You Go this time last year was 107, is now rated 143. I'd say the same is going to happen with I Like the Way You're Thinking.
Okay, now I'm just going to play devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
Have we overreacted to the run?
No.
Have potentially, is the horse maybe not that good? And, you know, obviously Mark could have been more aggressive, and visually it didn't look good, but maybe the horse is just not that good, no?
I think the horse is good. He was an eye catcher in his maiden hurdle runs. But in fairness, the one thing I will say is that first time in a handicap, it's a huge difference from a maiden hurdle into a handicap.
Okay.
They go far quicker and so on. So he will improve a lot naturally, but I think he's a very well handicapped horse. Probably the best handicapped horse there is at the moment that you could think
Best
of.
handicapped horse in Ireland. I Like the Way You're Thinking,
Yeah.
trained by Gavin Cromwell, owned by JP McManus, and could be going potentially for is it the Coral Hurdle?
He mightn't get into it even if he won at Christmas, but he'll win a couple of races.
Okay. So there is one for your notebook if it isn't there already. So now, Gavin, this is the moment we've been waiting for.
Yes.
Your next selection in our list of Ante-Post tips for the 2019 Cheltenham Festival is?
Is in the Gold Cup, and it's the winner of the Gold Cup, Road to Respect. When you go through his form, there's a couple of things that stand out. One is he has to go left-handed. He does jump a little bit to his left. Even the time when he won the Brown Advisory Plate, he was very impressive. You watch him over the last couple of fences, he's jumping them to the left. So you can ignore most of his form to the right.
Even though his best ever performance came right-handed.
When the last day?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he only beat Jessica's horse, what do you call it, Woodland Opera.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, I'd say maybe he's had a couple of better performances. But it was a good run and it was a good start to the season for him. He's been beaten 4 times going left-handed, right? But 2 of them were at 2 miles in soft ground. That's not his cup of tea. Even though he ran quite well both times. He was second to Acapella Bourgeois and Navan on heavy. He was 4th in the Gold Cup on soft to heavy. We were there on Gold Cup day. The ground was heavy. It was brutal.
Bottoms.
But the 3 times he's gone left-handed on goodish ground, he won his beginners over 2-3 in Naas. He won the Brown Advisory. He absolutely bolted up, which you'd expect off 145 over 2.5 in Cheltenham. And then he also won the Christmas Chase last year in Leopardstown. The ground was yielding. He'd prefer it better than that, but he still beat Balco de Flo, who won the Ryanair. So, to me, if the ground comes up good on the Friday at Cheltenham, he's way overpriced. I think Red Zone are given a boosted price from 14 to 1 to 18 to 1. And if you look through it,
Wow.
I think if he wins at Christmas, he's going to be down to a 6-7 to 1 shot. He might drift if he got beat at Christmas. I think you can find holes with plenty of them. And I just think if the ground is good, he has a good chance.
And we were thinking the 14s is not a bad price, but that is going to be enhanced. Yes, for redzone.bet, up in the anti-viewers, it's going to be enhanced to 18 to 1. Now, each way, given that he has form at Cheltenham, he liked the ground, he's running at Christmas, there's a lot to like about that.
There is, yeah. It's very, very good value. But if the ground turns up soft, just throw the ticket in the bin.
Okay.
So we're taking a chance the ground will be
No,
good.
we'll
Normally
be
it
positive.
is.
We'll be positive, Gavin.
But normally the ground is quite good on the Friday of Cheltenham. Last year wasn't.
He's had, in fairness to Road to Respect, he's had quite a lot of racing though, hasn't he?
He has, but he's only 7.
You were supposed to ask me.
Oh, sorry.
We did this in training, and he said, "Guess what age
'Cause you
Road
heard
to
me
Respect
saying- you
is?"
saw
And I was
my
gonna
notes.
say, he must be 10 or 11. No, he's only 7.
Yeah,
So you fluffed your lines.
I did.
He's only 7.
Yeah. He's around a long time, isn't he? But
Yes. I can't
hard to
believe
believe.
he's only 7. It's
Yeah.
like Apple's Shade. Who would have thought Apple's Shade is only 6?
yeah.
It's hard to believe. So there, we're going to check their
For example,
birth certs.
like Might Bite is turning 10. No horse has won the Gold Cup at the age of 10 for 21 years.
Okay, who was the last one to do that?
Oh, it was Cool Ground or one of those.
There we go. Gavin Lynch's next tip for the Cheltenham Festival 2019 is Road to Respect at a very, very generous enhancement of 18-1. And now it's time for mine. Look, I know Paloma Blue and Rhinestone. It's been a disaster, okay? I'm going to admit it. There's no point in mincing my words, okay? It's been a disaster, but I'm going to go back to my old reliable. The one that got me out of trouble last year. Balco de Flow in the Ryanair. Yes, Balco de Flow, 10-1 for the Ryanair chase. He's going to be enhanced to 14-1 for the Ryanair chase, Balco de Flow. Now, there's a couple of things here, okay? Now, he was very disappointing earlier on the season, very disappointing at Down Royal. Yeah. There was an issue that they have sorted with his shins. I think the last day there was just so much more life about his performance, and he stuck at it. He did. It looked like he wasn't maybe just getting home in his races. Aintree, Down Royal, but I just thought in the John Durkan, he stuck at it. He wasn't beaten far. When you go through this list, okay, Min is a worthy favourite. Footpad is likely to run in the Queen Mother. He's already beaten Undersow.
He is, yeah.
Froden, whilst Froden is very good, at the moment he's a very good handicapper. Then you're into Shattered Love, who I think will end up in the Gold Cup. Gordon thinks she could really be a player in the Gold Cup. This race, it's obviously not got a long history because it's a relatively new race, but Alberta's Run won it twice in a row, and Undersow obviously won it 2 years ago, was second last year. It is a race for repeat performers. A lot of horses when you go down through the years that ran well in this race. It's a kind of a specialist race. I think Balco de Flow, the reason it suits him is because last year, as we saw with Undersow in the race, he was able to sit in and didn't have to do his own donkey work out in front. He jumped brilliantly. I think he won by 4.5 lengths, but the race was over turning in.
Yeah.
He demolished them. And I just think maybe he's the type of horse where there's one huge performance in every year. We've seen it in the Galway Plate. We've seen it in the Ryanair. And when you go through this list and you're getting 14-1 about a horse who is definitely going to go for the race, who's coming back to himself, who posted an RPR of 174 when he beat...
They wouldn't be tempted to go for the Gold Cup, no?
Well, I think they've got so many for the Gold Cup. Yeah. Shattered Love,
Road to Respect.
Shattered Love, Road to Respect. They'd be definite stayers. Whereas I think Balco de Flow, I think it would stretch his stamina. And I don't think the grueling race that the Gold Cup is would suit Balco de Flow. He's more flashy. He's a really good jumper. I just think he's the type of horse that could run really, really well. And if he were to run well in the Savills Chase at Christmas, like he did last year, he could be a lot shorter than that 10-1. He could be favourite. And it's their own race. So Balco de Flow, my old reliable, to get me out of trouble in my Ante-Post tips for the Cheltenham Festival. So there you go, folks. That is our Upping the Ante. We won't be back. Hold on. We won't be back until the 7th of January. That's our next episode. Gavin has left this.
No,
here we go.
This is just to wish you all the best in your married life.
Oh.
I won't see you before you get married.
Wow.
So.
Thanks very much, Gavin. Yeah. The next time you'll see me on the 7th of January, hopefully, if Aoife doesn't come to her senses, I'll be a married man. But I won't be here on the 7th of January because I'll be on honeymoon. But I'll be here on the 14th of January. So best of luck with all your punting over Christmas, and thanks for joining us.
Red Zone Sports.bet. Wham, bam, thank you, Uncle Sam.